All right, we are live for the 42nd episode of the
Let's Go podcast 42. Mariano Rivera, Avi Edelman's number, a very special podcast. But we're not here to talk about Avi Edelman. We're here to talk about the CTC champions, Archie, Yossi, and Ezzi. We welcome them. Welcome back, Archie and Yossi. Ezzi, we are happy to have you on for the first time here on this HSL podcast. Yet another championship, another ring for the boys. Arguably underdogs the second time in a row, but this time in this Fall Titan League Championship, a very special underdog here, as they may or may not have played some people are calling it the greatest softball team ever assembled, and we'll hear a lot more about that.
So there are a lot of heroes, it seems, from this game. First of all, we'll have to figure out who the most valuable player is, but we also have Yossi Kaufman, who has a new nickname. He's now known as the Sheriff, because there's a new sheriff in town. There's a new top pitcher in the Five Towns area, Queens and Five Towns area, establishing himself as the pitcher to beat the Sheriff Yossi Kaufman. We have Archie with the big hit last night, and then we have Ezzi Ungar, who people like to make fun of, even though he keeps on keeping on. So Ezzi, why don't you get us started and tell us why people make fun of you?
That's great. I couldn't tell you. I'm just. I guess it's easy. I guess, I'm not as good. I don't have the hitting panache that Archie does, or, Yossi being as amazing as this. We were talking, Yossi can call himself the sheriff, and, I had the MVP. Archie called me the MVP from last season, but Archie and I were discussing on Sunday, like, we win this playoff series. Yossi is the one who's the MVP here. Yossi deserves that one. So just to jump in, ahead of get ahead of it. How about Sheriff? I come from Toronto. I'm from Toronto. We had Doc. That's he fixes everything. He was our guy.
What is Doc?
That was Roy Halladay. It was Doc Holliday.
Oh, Doc Holliday.
He fixed all the ailments.
Doc Holliday. That's right. And he threw a perfect game, but for the Phillies, I think.
It was a no-hitter, but yeah.
That was a no-hitter. Okay, Archie, you're sideways, by the way. Just a heads up.
What I'm doing here.
So you're an easy target, but now you're on your second straight championship team. So obviously you did something right in the spring.
It's something to be a winner, I tell you.
So you're a winner. Okay, I like that. When did you? Oh wait, so you're from Toronto, Canada. That means you and Archie go back to Canada.
We do. He's a year younger than me. He was with my cousins, but I know Archie from Toronto. We were in camp together.
How long have you been living in the USA?
15 years.
15 years. Okay. How old are you?
35.
35. And how long have you been? Archie's champing at the bit over there. I see him flipping his pen. He's ready.
You need to get him going.
He's ready.
No,
He's ready.
Like, I'm not too good information.
We haven't had Ezzi on the podcast yet. We just need to introduce him, whet the appetite for the audience before we get to the main show.
It's just too easy. You're calling Ezzi a winner. This is just too easy for me.
I called myself a winner, just by the way. That's a lie, is all I'm saying.
Right.
And we also have here Raice, who's also known as the commissioner's daddy, knocking him out 4 or 5 times this season. Also a winner. Welcome to the podcast, Ellie. But we're turning the show over to Archie now. Now it's Archie's show.
Let me lead this in for you. How amazing, because these guys didn't ask the question, how much more special was this championship for us than last one? And last one was special.
I can go all day. How much time do you guys have?
I don't have that long.
No, definitely we can get into it. This definitely had more of a Cinderella run feel to it, just because I guess our team was just all over the place during the season, and then sort of we came together in the playoffs and just made a nice run, and I think many teams counted us out. So definitely we can talk about it, go into the specifics of what this meant. Also, let's be honest, the team that we just beat, Lobo / Bomber / whatever you want to call them, basically every best player in the A-League except for every best A-League player except for Archie, basically. It was on their team, stacked, diversified, versatile lineup, and yet, whatever.
It was less so, I think, in my opinion, about the run to the finals as it was the finals itself.
Yeah. Correct.
Wait.
We'll get into it if you want to.
Wait, hold
I
on.
assume you want to do one
Wait,
step at a
what-
time.
What did Ezzi just say? Less about the run to the finals.
Yeah, it was less about the run to the finals. The run to the
Oh.
finals was obviously amazing, but the final itself was really
Uh-huh.
that was it. Beating that team in that situation with those guys.
And also smacking them down.
Right.
Yeah, they scored what they scored. Yeah, see, 3 runs.
2 runs, 3 runs.
30. One in the second game, 2 in the first. Right? Something like that.
So what was so meaningful about it? Who's going to walk us through this?
Archie,
Well,
go ahead.
You take the lead here. Take the lead here, Archie.
I guess for this one, we have a lot of championships. I've won a lot, thank God. I've won all different leagues from A, B, C, D, Israel, America, Canada. We've done it all. So this one just meant something because one is, honestly, I didn't play half the season. Didn't really give a crap. Kaufman was trying to motivate me to lose weight. Otherwise, I'm not on this team. And I think actually
That's why they
after
call
he
him the
gave me
sheriff.
some...
That's why they call him the sheriff.
Right.
You know?
I think literally after he
Fernando.
said that to me, I think I gained 20 pounds since he said that to me. And I think he told bald people have to go grow some hair. If you're poor, you got to make some money. If you're fat, you got to lose weight. If you're skinny, you got to gain weight. That was his sales pitch to the team. And there's no funny business here. And I said, okay, good luck to you. We already beat the Bombers. I already made my whole summer was made just hearing them kvetch and cry and Dom blew the call and all the Narishkeit and the error at third base. We had the game and Shia Weiss crying and Steve Pollen and Donnie Perlman. You just name it. Adam, I don't know. It was so much fun just listening to them cry all season. And then I was like, okay, my summer was already made. Unfortunately, I didn't get to win the baseball tournaments. And I say, you know what? Okay, this one maybe will finally, I guess, top off the summer or at this point, fall/winter. And I decided to check in for the playoffs because at this point, what else are we playing for? I came, I think, my first game to the playoffs, and I was like, this is our team? Oh, my goodness. No offense. We ain't winning. And then I decided.
Was it when you saw Ezzi? Was it when you saw Ezzi that you?
It definitely didn't help. I'll tell you that much. It definitely didn't help, especially when I'm seeing like Ezzi's going to be hitting 5 on our team. Like, oh, we're doomed. I don't know, something like that. I think he might have even let off because Raice wasn't there. I don't remember, something like that. And I was like, okay, we're going to be in trouble. We're in for a long season, and or a long whatever, probably a short playoff run. And yeah, then I decided, you know what, time to take the team on my back. Let's go carry this to a championship. I told Kaufman, don't worry about it. And I realized Kaufman has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. We had a conversation. I said, we're going to get you a championship. We're going to prove everyone wrong. And so then just the Cinderella run with the team, I guess barely scoring any runs, but just some pretty clutch and good defense and great, spectacular pitching by Kaufman. Kaufman, I don't know what even people call him anymore, by Yossi.
The sheriff.
And then to top it all off, beating this team, and they even got better from the last time we beat them, and to sweep them. Kaufman, and then Ash complaining, driving upstate. He ditched our team, Menachem, and all their drama and politics. And then he go pitches game 2 and gets walloped. I'm trash talking it because I say that out of respect because I know he's an incredible pitcher. So we actually finally got a couple of hits, got some professional hits, some professional baseball runs that aren't easy to come by when you face an incredible defense and an incredible pitcher. And we did exactly what we had to do. Clutch.
Might have lost him there, huh?
Do not disturb. It's not on.
I think you got to take the lead here and throw in your comments as well.
What's that?
Justin Kaufman's got to break down the iron arm, the rubber arm. I don't know what you call it.
No, we were just talking about the run. I mean, I feel like you're
Come on.
as the most vocal person on the team. I think Stoff Felber gave you the biggest compliment is, I don't know what this guy in center field is, but the mouth on this guy, I mean, somebody has to quiet him down. And, we're like...
We weren't behind all postseason, I don't think.
Listen, we didn't get Ellie for his bat.
It's funny in the second inning or third inning of the game, Joe Fine umping the bases for the championship. I think he walked over to Ellie Raice. He's like, Ellie, is that you yelling at your pitcher? Or is it, I don't know if he knew your name. He's like, is that you yelling at your pitcher the whole game? He's like, I like that a lot. He's like, I hear you yelling the whole game. Ellie's mouth has really made a big statement for himself here in the Five Towns. I don't know if it's more his mouth or his skill that's making Ellie Raice known in the
Ellie's
Five-town softball
a
scene.
6-tool player, not a 5-tool.
Once you know the
he's a
opponent
6-tool
doesn't
player.
like the mouth, you're definitely not gonna shy away from that.
Ellie, what's the kind of stuff you're saying during the game? Are you trash talking, or you just got running commentary? What is it?
No, I'm just positive stuff always. I've played with guys that have done that, and I've watched them take over games by just using their mouth and just it gets in the other team's head. They want to shut them up the whole time. They want to get that big hit, and then they just don't get the big hit. It can hurt the team if it's not done well, but I think for the most part, you got to just keep it very positive, and then it could really it could wreck a day for somebody.
I think another aspect, by the way, to all this, championship run, CTC, winning, knocking off CBS, going into the season. I don't know how in tune, Archie, you were with CBS and Pollen and Ash and Feldberg's team, but going into the season, people just thought that it would be really stupid. Because there might be some competitive games during the season, they might not show up. But come playoff time, when you have Shui off and batting 9, who are you kidding? What? It's pathetic. And I feel like the fact that not only did they win, but they really won. It wasn't even close. The closest it was 1-1 going into the 4th or 5th of the second game of the championship. But other than that, it was basically a blowout. For, I would say, 8 of the 14 innings of the championship. It's a little bit of an extra, you guys lost in the spring championship as the Bombers. You guys then went and got the best guys from the Omnons and the Lobos. Sorry, LA Race. And you combined into one stronghold of a team and got blown out in the championship. I feel like there's a little bit of that involved. I don't know if I'm wrong, Yossi, but I feel like there's a little bit of that,
Yeah, I think also the way Ash kind of left the team, and I tried to convince him to come back, and he didn't. I think that was also, I think we were kind of playing with house money, because when you're playing against a team of that caliber, you're playing loose. And I felt like, I think, I don't know if it was Archie, but someone said it to me, that once we took the lead in that game, we just saw you just could kind of see the air leave the stadium, so to speak. I think also Ash walked a lot of guys, and I could see, whenever I see a pitcher walk people on the other side, I look at the player, just their physical reactions. And you could see they turn around, they get frustrated, they get out of it a little bit. And I think we were able to take advantage of that and just kind of keep the focus.
Yossi, I also saw you on Avi's status during your pregame pep talk. You were telling them to work the count and look out for the walks. I'm pretty sure that was you, right?
Yeah. It's funny with Ash, I go up there and I say, every at-bat, I know what I'm going to accomplish, and that is I'm going to accomplish a walk. And I did the first 2 at-bats. And the third one, we were winning 8-1. It was in the last inning, and I ended up swinging. But
so I have a question, Yossi. Have you become such what did you say, Ellie?
He crushed one. It happens to be they were playing him deep for some reason.
Who crushed one, Yossi?
No, I hit a ball in right field to fly out. Yeah.
His last at bat, Yossi drove onto right, that was caught. I think Raice and Yossi both walked twice. Archie had 2 hits. Ezzi, anything to show for the game?
From the offensive standpoint, unfortunately not. Had an unfortunate game there, especially with the umpire behind the plate.
Yeah, Ezzi and Mark didn't get along too well. Mark actually overall, I think, called a pretty solid game, especially for someone who was coming off of a 4-month hiatus or 3-month hiatus after going to the hospital.
I would say for someone who wanted to not be there so badly, he wasn't. But overall, it was just being behind the plate for a lot of it, and then obviously, being at the plate, he definitely had his moments.
I think so. I think it was good that the game was not decided by the umps, especially this time around. I think that was refreshing. No one's going to walk out of that game and say, oh, the umps changed the result.
Which is what happened in the spring.
I think you were, David, to finish your question, what I told the guys was, Ash, we all know he has control issues. And our first run was pure. We manufactured our first run without a hit. he ended up walking two guys.
Yep, 2 walks and 2 sack bunts.
Got a ground ball to second out, but the runs got over second and third. And I believe there was a sack fly or a ground ball to the right side, and that's what scored our run. And I think our second run also ended up being it was a base hit, I believe, but I think it was manufactured again by walks. So I just told the guys, I said, be patient. When I go up there, I don't really swing on Ash unless I get 2 strikes. I just don't. Because I know that there's going to be at least a 50% chance, especially if I could foul off his pitches, which I feel like I can foul him off. I know eventually get on base. And I think that's my advice to him is that I think he just needs to have a pitch that is just kind of lob it and get it over. And he does not
Do you
have
think
that.
he's incapable of doing that?
He did it once.
No,
he did it once.
He did it a few
Wow.
times. He threw me 2 of them, I think, back to back. He does it. He does it occasionally. He's been
I
working
don't
it
know
in
if he's
more.
But
He doesn't have it with any sort of actual speed.
No.
He's literally a pen practice pitch if he does.
I think also the one thing, and this is an important point, is I think with Ash, sometimes when you and I struggle with this, and Avi, I don't know if you struggle with this. I have it actually with players who are shorter and weaker hitters, where you kind of overthrow because you're like, okay, I don't want to walk this guy, so I'm trying so hard to throw a strike, and it gets in your head. And I think to a certain degree, Ash might have that with me. He knows I'm not that strong of a hitter, but he's like, okay, I can't walk this guy, but then he ends up walking me because he's overthrowing it.
All right,
Gabe,
Jesse,
Gabe,
I got to. Yeah, what do you want to say, Avi? I
No,
want
no,
to introduce certain.
Before we introduce our special guest here, I'm actually curious on this topic. I don't want to forget. I wanted to ask this one question, if we can, for a second. God, be a little patient with us. Archie, it's funny because the whole talk, the whole game, before the game, during the game, is sit back, be patient, make him throw pitches. The biggest at bat of the game, with the bases loaded, 2 outs, Archie at the plate, tie game. I think it was in the 2-1 or in the 5th inning. Archie gets up there, and I think Ash walked 2 guys that inning. First pitch, Archie swings and hits a line drive that tails by Adam for a base clearing double. Was that a automatic, Archie? You're coming up to the plate, you're looking for the first pitch there? Because that's like the opposite approach that you guys had almost all game in the biggest spot of the game. And you're muted. Mute. Archie, unmute yourself and then re-answer. There you go.
All right. It's actually a very good question because we actually discussed this right post the hit. I was talking to Shmuel and Ezzi, and we love talking the game of baseball and making sure whether we were successful or not, that we made the right baseball decision. And at the time, it's funny, he walked, so just so you understand the circumstances, there were 2 outs, first and third, and Shmuel Gestender batting at 2. And I'm watching the outfield very carefully, watching how they're playing, what their body motions are, and their expressions, and I can see the frustration in them right there of like, how can you walk Shmuel on, I think it was 4-0. I think it was 4 straight pitches. I think maybe 1 was close, but other than that, the 3 were just, Shmuel didn't even hesitate or anything like that, and just easy decision, easy walk on 4 pitches. Now, funny thing with Ash, I also sort of have a history, and you can be like, oh, all this was accounted for. Yeah, it was. Ash, for some reason with me, tends not to throw a lot of balls. Maybe it's just my body, my frame, the way I stand over the plate. He tends to throw strikes against me. I've never really had where he's walked me or he's fallen behind. He tends to be 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. So, like, now, if normally a pitcher's struggling and throwing balls and it's a random game, you're not looking to swing at the first pitch after 4 balls. You're right. The veteranship, I think baseball fundamentals tell you 100% let it take a pitch or 2 until he gets it right. You're right. At the same time, I look at our team, and up until then, at the end of the day, the score was 2-1. And let me tell you something. Maybe Kaufman touched upon it. We scraped those 2 runs together, okay? They were very professional. We had, I think it was like, Yaakov Weiss had like bases loaded with like 1 out and hit a ground ball slow to right to the first baseman, just enough in between where he couldn't get to and make a throw home. They had to take the out at first, got the run in. If you remember the second run, I think I led off the inning with a single. Okay, I think there was a walk or whatever it is. Somehow we got the runner again to third base, and he hits Miller, who again, very professional, great hitter, especially in big spots. Hits a beautiful line drive deep to the outfield, to right field, and gets the run in. So we scraped it by. I'm looking at it like this. I'm in the 3 spot. I'm literally supposed to be the guy to knock in RBIs. If I'm not going to do it, we're not going to run up the scoreboard. If we don't have that type of lineup, we are probably more of a pitching/defense lineup first. And as a 3-hitter and as a guy who loves being in position, loves at-bats with men in scoring position, and takes pride in just getting them home, whether it's a sac fly, whether it's a ground out to the right side. As you get older and you don't have the same power you used to have and you just clear the bases one shot, you just got to get runs in, especially in a game like this where Ash, you could talk about his control issues, but let's be honest, when he's pumping his fast pitch, he's an elite pitcher. He's very hard to get around of, and it showed. We barely were hitting the ball. Our outs were soft contact. We barely were scraping. I knew right then and there Ash is going to take a little off and throw a meatball down Broadway. I just knew it, and I made in my mind, I'm coming first pitch hacking. I'm not a guy that loves the first pitch. I said, if I see it, it may be the best pitch I see all at bat. And number one is I don't want to have 2 strikes and have to swing at a bad pitch. So I don't want to be that patient. I want to be in a position, even a walk. I don't love taking a walk and taking the RBI. I have a chance that I know with my power, I can clear the bases with a gapper or even hit up the middle. That gives you 2 runs, whatever it is. And I came with that approach, it was a perfect pitch down Broadway. He took a little off. It wasn't that fast. And just tailing with a little wind and just enough where Adam and Sperling, 2 elite defenders, somehow couldn't get to it.
Right, went right in between them.
Literally.
Dave, are you with us here? Do you hear us? Or you can't? Nope, Dave's gone. All right, Dave's gonna join us in a second. In the meantime, we have a very special guest here, a good friend of mine, and also without this person, there would be no CTC Championship. Gabriel Rosenbluth, who represents CTC himself. God, we're glad to have you on. We have all of our championship players here. Gloried and thanking you for the ability to play in the fall and ultimately win a championship. Gav, you're looking good in that car.
Thanks for having me on, Avi. I appreciate it. First of all, hey Dave. I want to first of all congratulate all you guys. I was tracking from a distance, getting reports of the valiant efforts that were put up in a wildly unexpected series.
Yes, it was an upset to say the least, Archie, right? It was a little bit of upset there.
Yeah, I'm like trying to hold myself back and be respectful and try not to trash talk and troll the other team. And the reason why, I just have at the end of the day, I have so much respect. You don't even get the talent on the other team. Sure, some guys are a little past their prime, a little older. They're not what they used to be. A lot of us are like that, unfortunately. I think every year we go down another tool. Not that we were ever 5 tool players, but if we were 2, now we're going down to like literally a half a tool player. So, but they were very versatile. You had guys like Matt and Jack, lefty hitters who can run and can hit the ball all ways, all sides, speed, good defense. They just had a well-rounded team from power to speed to good defense and an elite pitching between Steve and Ash. Like, it's daunting. And I made a joke. They literally had the whole A-League. Yeah, they had top-tier A-League talent. Not that we didn't have a talented team, but we did not have the brand names. But to be fair, we had really solid players who knew exactly how to play their position and what they're supposed to bring to the table on this team. And everyone, and I mean everyone, top to bottom, executed to that perfection throughout the playoffs and especially in the championship game. So yeah, we were underdogs.
You know what else you had, Archie? You know what else you had? You also had the power of CTC behind you guys.
Yes.
Powering you to the championship. Gav, on that note, why don't you tell everyone here and all of our large audience, especially once we clip it and turn to YouTube short, which, by the way, I was telling Archie yesterday, YouTube shorts are the keys to marketing in the YouTube world. Not in regards to financial from YouTube, but we have been getting a lot of views. So, Gav, get ready. It's your time to shine here. And tell everyone here a little bit about – Dave, are you back with us, by the way?
And before Gav speaks, I just want to make sure, Gav, as he pumps up and talks about CTC, and we'd love to hear all about it, especially now they took a notch up of after this championship. I just want to make sure there's a trophy and a jersey hanging in his office or in the company
office. It's on the jersey after this one. It's on its way. The jersey and trophy are on their way.
Okay.
And Avi have already been talking about planning to ship it.
Avi, don't cheap out, Avi. Send him a framed jersey that he can hang on the wall, and it's fine. I'll autograph it for free.
I called him after the game last night. I told him it's on its way. Gav, why don't you tell us a little about CTC? A lot of these elderly guys on CTC here might have some kids that might be in the parsha of CTC in whether it's in 7 years, whether it's in 8 years, whether it's in 3 years. So why don't you?
It doesn't have to be our kids. It's never too old to get a proper education. CTC is a company that has been around for close to a decade now. and the program is an accelerated bachelor's degree program that we've had students from high school students to former NBA players, actually, who have requested to remain anonymous, but you'll have to take my word for it, have all been graduates of our program. It's a self-paced program with where we keep a gentle push on the students' back to make sure that they're keeping up a solid pace, like they discussed when they started the program, and students have seen a lot of success getting into graduate schools, furthering their careers without wasting years and a lot of money going to sit in a classroom.
That sounds pretty amazing, Gav. How is it?
Okay, very cool.
How has your entry into the New York market been going?
So we actually did a soft entry a few years ago, and our hard entry obviously has been recent. And it's interesting. The company's based in LA. I live in New York. I live here in Queens, and it's funny. I see people on the street who have obviously, like, friends of mine or whatever, people who knew about the company in the first place, and they just come over to me they're like, why am I seeing CTC all over the place? So I'm not personally involved in the demographic of looking at the demographics of who's signing up to our program and where they're located, but I do know that the feedback has been great. The people are reporting back that they're seeing the name all over the place. So as far as my job is concerned, it's a smashing success.
And your partnership with the HSL, I imagine, has really taken things to the next level.
Of course, yeah. That's been most of. I've had people I play HSL basketball. I've had people on opposing teams come over to me, and be like, it's really exciting. What's going on? What's the deal with this? And I'm like, we're pushing hard in New York now. That's what it is.
Now, I have a question.
One of the biggest. I always forget the word or the right term to use. One of the biggest CTC successes actually also plays in the HSL basketball league. Gav told me this story. Told him, called your mother, right, Gav? And he said, I don't know you're sponsoring HSL basketball. Someone whose parents wanted him to go to the most luxurious of colleges and get the most chashuv degree.
He dropped out of the most luxurious college to join our program, and he's consistently been grateful and thankful for the years we saved him.
I have a question for you, Gav. Of the three men you have here, Yossi Kaufman, Ezzi Ungar, and Archie Eichhorn, who do you think would fit best in an ad for CTC? If you were marketing if you were doing a full collab with the HSL, which face do you want in there?
You're putting me on the spot a little bit.
That's what we do.
That's what we do on these podcasts.
Two out of three haven't said a word yet, so it's kind of a tough position to be in.
We need most. Wordless, it's just a face.
All right,
He's
Gav.
the guy.
All right, Gav. Well, Gav, thanks so much for coming on. You could stick around as long as you want.
No, absolutely not. I parked already. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, guys.
After you guys win the basketball championship, you'll have your second championship podcast that you come on.
We will. You're gonna have to get a bigger wall.
Big game coming up for MS Motors in the Bass League. They're playing the undefeated under 5'10" Pipe Doctor. And what? Dave,
Okay, I got rapid fire for Ezzi Ungar because he's got to leave.
Okay, I just wanted to say that Caleb Pollins, Steve Pollins' son, apparently is a stud basketball player, 5-0, looking to go 6-0.
Okay.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Ezzi.
Thanks,
Ezzi, before you go, are you ready for rapid fire?
Sure.
Okay, do you know how
Archie, you're also on mute, by the way, so if you want to interrupt,
he's not allowed to interrupt during rapid fire. So the way this works is
okay,
you can't think at all. You can't think at all. You got to just give us your answer.
Shouldn't be a problem.
All right? We'll start off easy, and then we'll get a little bit harder. All right. Who's your favorite umpire in these local leagues?
That's a very tough question, but I'm gonna have to say Dom just for consistency purposes.
Dom, okay. Who has the best personality on CTC?
Raice.
Who's a better commissioner, Avi Edelman or Ariel Cohen?
Avi Edelman.
Who's the most annoying player on CBS Alliance?
Is that the team we just faced in the final? Who's the most annoying player? I love him, but I'm gonna say Shia.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Who's a better captain, Menachem Diamondstein or Yossi Kaufman?
Also a tough question. I have the answer already. No shade to anyone, of course, but I will say Yossi. Just because he's making people get skinny.
You don't need those
Who do you want to
Archie.
see? You know, after last night, this question isn't really fair, but who do you want to see hitting in a big spot, Archie or Ellie Raice?
There's no one besides this answer in the history. I said it last night. I'll say it again and again and again and again and again. Archie is the only one you ever want hitting in a big spot. He comes through. It's obviously not 100% of the time, but it feels like 100% of the time.
Okay, who gave your team a tougher time, Steve Pollen or Daniel Ash?
It's Steve Pollen.
Last question. Who do you want to see hitting in a big spot, Yossi Kaufman or Ellie Raice?
He's been great this year.
He's sneakily clutch. He's sneakily
Yes,
clutch.
he's been secretly clutch. Yeah, especially this year. You know, after I made sure that he was a 10 hitter all throughout the Monday League, and made sure that he was never anything besides the 10 hitter, no matter who was hitting in front of him. So I'm going to say Yossi because he has been helping himself out all season long. And hopefully that continues going forward.
So it turns out that Ellie Raice is a personality hire.
Ellie was awesome all season. Also, you know, he was awesome.
Ellie ultimately had the hit that sent you guys to the championships. Not to throw myself under the bus, but 2 on, 1 out in the second extra inning of Game 3. Ellie had the big RBI single that put you guys ahead and ultimately beat us to get to the championship.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie was awesome. You know, between Archie and Shmuel and Ellie at the top of that lineup is the only reason that we had a chance to be where we were this season at all. And you know, obviously everyone else contributed in their own way. I think part of our team was mostly awesome with defense and awesome with knowing what everybody's supposed to do. Do what you're supposed to do. Do your job. We were big Belichick believers this year, I guess, but that's how we won it. But Ellie was awesome throughout the year also.
I think, by the way, I'm just going to interject. I think that's what makes the team, like our team, fun. Is first off, 40% of the guys on the team are B-League players. Goldenberg, Woodsburg, Ezra Barron, and Chesky at school. Full-time regulars when we started.
Who's
they were
the second
alternates.
one you mentioned after Goldenberg?
Ellie
I really have to go. I got to go pick up my kid. If I'm around late, if you guys still around in like 25, 30
I'll
minutes.
hit you up, Ezzi. I'll let you know.
Ellie Koenigsberg.
Oh, Koenigsberg. Okay.
Ellie,
Okay.
Yeah, and he's just, again, good guy. I think we just had a really cohesive group, and I think like even the fact that Yakov Weiss had just the second biggest hit of the game behind Archie. Also, he's sneakily clutch. Yakov Weiss gets on base. He gets big hits. I knew when I was telling Archie that they played him 5 in, and Yakov Weiss goes to right field a lot. I thought it was a mistake, and he hit his first home run I've ever seen, and he was winded after that base jog for sure.
So what is the shot? How did you guys?
Yossi called it before the game. I think his first at was not before then. On his first at bat, 5 fielders. Yossi told me, we were in the dugout, and he told me, he says, Yako's going to make them pay in 1 at bat. He said that.
How did he know?
He said it's a mistake the way they're playing him. It's going to pay 1. And
There's
Adam,
a
Adam played 5 in the infield, and Adam Hoffman was playing fairly shallow and right, and hit one a line drive over first down the right field line, and Adam was 2 in, and it skipped by him and just rolled all the way.
When you play with 5 infielders, it's very dangerous when a guy could go to all
Why
fields.
is Adam playing right field?
Because that's how good their team is. They had Matt in center. They had Huey Hoffman was in left, right?
Shuey's outfield than Adam?
Let's just say Sperling was playing right field, and that guy is as Gold Glove and elite defender as it gets.
It was Sperling, Shuey, Matt, and Adam in the outfield. It's incredible. Which, by the way, is
so fast. You know, Matt scored the run that they scored. Matt tagged from second.
I saw that.
And he made it.
Check out Avi's status. So wait, let me ask you guys a question. You know they do these simulations. If you guys played this simulated game 100 times actually take out the simulation. If you guys played this same series 10 times, how many times does CTC take it?
All 10 times.
So what is the shot? Explain that to me, Archie. What?
It's 2 separate questions I think you're trying to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
If you simulate the game on paper, on a video game, we lose all 10 times.
Right.
We lose all 10 times. You play this in person. Well, I don't care if the weather is hot, cold, freezing. We win all 10 times, and there's many different reasons why.
So what is the shot?
The first shot is they have Archie. CTC has Archie.
Well, Ezzi Ungar's a winner. Ezzi Ungar's a winner. We don't know about you.
The second reason is that we have the best pitcher in the league. It's that simple. And I really mean that. That's not trying to blow up smoke on Kaufman because I want to play with him every season now. That's not what it's for, even though he's a Nazi with the weight. But I love him. He's the best pitcher in the league. he took a lot of trash when someone did a stupid poll and he didn't get one vote, which is absurd, about who's the best pitcher, who do you want to start in an all-star game or whatever it is.
Archie
I'll
referred to the
take Kaufman
Instagram,
any day.
the
And you know
Instagram
why?
poll
And
we
I'll say
had.
this. Besides the point that Kaufman over the last few years has gotten more consistent and throws strikes and barely walks batters, and he'll give in and he'll say, hey,
You're good. I hear you.
it's not just that. It's also at the same time, he's a great teammate and he's a winning player. And a winning player, what it takes is trusting the guys around you. He trusts them on defense. He trusts we have put together a game plan, and we're not going to discuss it. Especially, this is a private game plan that Kaufman and I know and discuss before every game. And he listens and he executes to perfection. I'll take that guy any day. And that's not so easy when a guy can throw 100 miles an hour and I say, hey, throw that pitch. And he's like, but that guy can clobber it. Just trust me. And it works. Not a lot of pitchers would say that. I'm not going to mention names, but I've done it with other pitchers. And they just still trying to throw it 100 miles an hour and strike out the guy. And you're just putting your defense out of the game, being lazy, not trusting them. And I think it's a big mistake. You have good defenders, you trust them, and you play the game. And those are the two reasons. That's it. I think it ends there. And we have good achtos, because this is a Jewish podcast.
Is that a third reason?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
so 1 second. The second reason is that your pitcher has more of a rapport, camaraderie with the players. What was the first reason?
Simple. They have Archie.
Oh, that's hard. I forgot about that one. Okay. Is Kaufman the best pitcher you've ever played with?
Played with in my
Or
career.
against?
Um,
Been on the same.
I think
with Schreiber in his prime,
this
right?
is the answer. In short, the answer is yes. Especially after last night, the way we just called some pitches and executed it. I have to say, it was probably the most fun I've had in a baseball game
Because
in
you called
forever.
pitches from third base. I remember from the last podcast.
Yes. But again, I can call what I want. It still has to be executed. And again, the pitcher has to still trust to throw it. And that's what I give Kaufman. Yeah, the answer is in short, yes. But the other answer, I play with some really good pitchers. So it's not a disrespect to any of the pitchers, whether it's Steve Paul and Ash, or we've won tournaments together with Ash, and he pitched one hell of a a tournament. I've had some great pitchers in Israel. I had some guys. I pitched with so many, but Kaufman is up there, if not the best. You know what? Once we're talking pitching, actually, I want to discuss it. I don't think, sorry. You know what? After this championship run, I think Kaufman actually takes the gauntlet right now, because the gauntlet he went through, he faced two different lineups over the semifinals and championship, and a total of 4 games. Okay, and Avi can attest to this. Avi's team was no slouch, man. That team was fast, versatile, young, power, and they learned how to win the last couple of years. So it wasn't like they were lacking that either. And sometimes you need that, trust me. And they didn't lack any of those components. And I think we played them. I'm going to at least go, at least from the semifinals game, he didn't give up the game 3 game. I don't remember the games before. He didn't give up an earned run. Okay, they tied the game in I think the top of the 7th.
Hit till an out in the 7th, Archie.
Correct. Which turned out to exactly. That run went on to score via an error. It was unearned. Right. He then went back-to-back games, pitched another 7-inning game. We gave up 2 runs, again unearned, and again plays out normally they just ate up the defender. It is what it is. Again, on 2 deep, talented lineups in a playoff game back-to-back. And that is spectacular. And now to come, pitch another game here a week later. Again, just a stacked lineup, and a team that must win is going to play more desperate. Smart hitters, been there, have won before. Most of them are very clutch. They've been there and again mowed them down, not striking them out. Soft contact, a strikeout here and there, a weak pop-up. Exactly execute the pitches to perfection. And again, their only run, it's not an unearned, it's an earned run, obviously, but their only run was because Matt is the fastest guy. He might even beat Tyreek Hill in a race. It's not normal. He got to second base before our right fielder even touched the ball. Our right fielder catches it. I try to just play some shtick and get him off. Yeah, he left early. He didn't leave early. He left right when pretty.
Well, a couple people commented on the status saying it looks like he left early. I'm like, watch it back again. He's just so fast. Like
you know what it was? You know what it was? It was the way Yitz caught it a little awkwardly because he sort of like misjudged it. It was Adam clobbered that ball. I think the wind kept it a little bit in play for a guy like Yitz to make the catch, and it was like a double. It was like a timid catch. It was like hesitant the way he caught it, and if you see I don't know if you saw the whole play. I didn't see the status. but Matt jumped off the bag and ran back to the bag.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought maybe he left early, whatever it is. But yeah, and the fact that he scored from a sac fly from second base, and I think by the time we threw it, like the play wasn't even close at home. He was standing. It wasn't even close. That's the only run they got in the game against a stacked lineup, and that's why I think if anyone's debating with the best pitchers right now, you're so idiotic.
All right, so Archie, let me ask you. I have a couple follow-ups for you. Number one, I don't know if you guys are running it back in the spring, but do you think the Bombers?
No, the answer is yes. Of course they are. King Venture's running it back.
Running it back. So the Bombers, they're known as CBS Alliance because they formed two teams. They have a swagger. They have a I don't know. They've got a I don't know what to call it. A cockiness, a confidence. Do you think when they see Yossi Kaufman, they see Archie Eichhorn at third base, do you think they're playing scared next year?
Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, I'll answer the last question. They don't get scared when they see Archie Eichhorn. I could trash talk all I want. They don't get scared from me. I could be honest with you on that one, okay? The only guy maybe is Shia Weiss. I can see Shia Weiss get afraid of me at third base. Other than that, no, there's no fear. Although maybe Shuey, I've stole a bunch of hits from him in his career. He gets so upset at me. So maybe Shuey. Other than that, yes, I'm working backwards. They definitely are afraid of Kaufman. That's a pitcher they do not want. They don't. He doesn't walk batters. He makes you earn every hit. He can blow it by you, and he can make you roll over one. So he's a very tough pitcher. I can say that as a hitter myself. I never like seeing Kaufman on the other side.
How did Glenn do in this series, by the way? Did Glenn get any base hits?
No.
I
think Glenn might have only gotten one hit.
Yeah, definitely didn't do damage the way he normally.
He took an over in one of the games.
Yes, you're not getting it. No one got hits. Kaufman steamrolled this team. So yeah, 100%. And you talk about going forward. Honestly, I've been asked already if after last night, I think it was the Bombers, some of the guys requested if maybe we should move up a division while they stay back one because we're just too good for them. And we've now swept them.
And that, Archie?
Yeah. Honestly, I got a bunch of texts. I didn't even open them. I just felt bad to answer.
There's been talks about doing 3 tiers for the spring this year. Maybe the Bombers should go back to tier 2.
I was thinking. I tell you, I think our team has to move up a tier. I'm not sure who is it against, but yeah, I think it was Sach. That requested it.
Pretty funny. Now I have another question. This is for both of you guys. Yossi, you mentioned that there are a bunch of B League players on your team. Did anybody?
Yeah.
Goldenberg's not a surprise. It sounds like he played a sparkling shortstop. I've watched that guy play it.
Yeah, defensively he's top. Offensively, and he'll admit this to you. He's not there yet, but he'll get there. He's young.
Would you guys bring him down for the Sunday League in the spring if he's available?
Yeah, I mean, Archie knows I'm loyal. If you play with us and you make time for the team,
who's your shortstop in the spring?
So the three, it's Ari Staus is our shortstop, but our 4 core infielders are Yaakov Weiss, Ari Staus, Archie, and Josh Goldenberg. And we can mix it up any way we want, but those guys all have a spot on our team next year and moving forward. And
Dave, we want the Robins to move up to Titan. I think we gotta let Josh Goldenberg stay with Ariel Cohn.
I think, I probably have to, Ariel Cohn probably will burn down my house. But I think what is the team, like, you're going to see this, and Archie knows this. Like, I'll never, if I can get a much better player from another team, I will never, ever kick off a guy who's on our team for because someone's better. If someone doesn't show up, if they're not reliable, that's a different story. But everyone, all these guys, and I appreciate them, like, they did not sign up to be full-time players, and then they committed. And, even Josh said to me, right when we got there, he's like, hey, don't bat me. I don't bat. I just want to play the field, he's just a great guy. And Konigsberg never complained. Chesky Itzkowitz, I moved him around from second base to right center to left field. And he's great. And this, I think it's just a Archie pointed. It's just a chemistry. And I think we just each have each other's back, and we're not some like mercenary team where it's like, let's bring. And funny enough, and Archie will agree with me, I've played with Archie in 2 softball tournaments, an RSK tournament, and I forgot the name of the other one. But both of them we lost, and both we lost in like the playoffs, and both felt very disconnected. Like, the teams on paper were really good, but there just wasn't a cohesiveness, and it felt like, okay, we just brought down a bunch of like guys who have like big names.
Archie, 100%. I just want to comment on that one because I preached all summer. the year before we brought a group, and for some reason we just clicked and we're cohesive, and we had like all chips on our shoulder to prove that we're still the best. And then we won. We swept the tournaments last year. This year in RSK, I came late to the game. We were missing already a few players who also were coming late, this and that. And I remember, I think I walked and I saw Yankee Itzkowitz. He was putting on his cleats, bending over like an old man. And he only played one game. And I'm looking at the team. This guy standing here and that guy this. And I looked at Yankee and I said right away, we're not winning this tournament. It's just, you feel it. And that was a minute in when I walked on to watch our team in the getting dressed and getting ready for the next game. You know when your team is ready to win and has that chemistry and is all in to be as a group. It's a mix of talent, skill, and fun, and cohesiveness as chemistry. You need it, and you can tell right away when a team has it or not. I remember also randomly I played in the SY tournament years ago, one of the first ones, whatever it is, and I was like, one of the J-dubs or the Ashkenaz, whatever they call us, and I joined the random team. I think the only person I knew was Max Sutton, was the only guy I knew on the team going into it. And again, we clicked from the second we laced up. The second we started the first inning, for some reason, we just clicked. I knew we were going to win, and we mowed over, went right through.
So let me ask you,
So
was there
you
you guys had a bunch of B-League players on your team. Was there any wild card, anybody who you saw something out of that you said, hey, this guy's pretty good, or helped you guys get over the top?
you want to answer that? I actually have an answer.
Archie, you go first.
So first of all, just let's be clear. When Yossi also says B-League players, he doesn't mean anyone here lacks talent.
Correct.
He means just these guys they don't play a lot of A-League. They just haven't in the past. Doesn't mean they're not capable of it. But with that being said, I want to give a shout out. Doesn't shock me because he has the branding of his last name. Is Chesky Itzkowitz. There was one guy I kept saying, see, guys like you look at Yitzi Miller, he's really an A-League player, but Yitzi, he coming off a big injury, surgery, this and that. I knew Yitzi would just get his balance back and his footing. He's too professional of a hitter. And the rest of the lineup, you sort of knew what you were going to get. The one guy I kept saying is Chesky Itzkowitz. He's an Itzkowitz. They tend to be clutch. They tend to just figure things out as the game goes. But the most thing that surprised me and shocked me is Chesky felt zero pressure. The bigger the play, the bigger the moment. It's just, it seemed like there was no emotion at all, no nervousness, no tension. He made a bunch of plays at second base, hard catches. The wind were blowing these tailing foul balls. He made every play. He played left field the first game, unbelievable job. And then he had some big hits last game. Another one, I remember he had like 0-2 on him or something against Ash, and Ash threw 100-mile-an-hour bullet right down. He just casually hits a right back line drive back up the middle. It's just, he impressed me the most of a guy. I don't want to say wild card, but definitely he's a big X factor. Big X factor.
Last time we had a podcast with you, we brought up Chesky Itzkowitz, and you said Niskatnu Adoyers. Does that still apply?
Yes. He's definitely not Yankee. He's definitely not Penny. But he still he can still prove himself and get there.
Not the X factor. He's got the Itzkowitz factor.
Yeah, he has the Itzkowitz factor. Yeah. I was blown away. I called Yankee last night and I said it wasn't the same winning, but at least I got to win with an Itzkowitz again as we keep that train moving. And he was a big factor for me. I can't explain it. There's just a team player. Listens. Where do you want me to play? Want to play here? Fine. He trusts you. He doesn't come try to do too much. The moment wasn't too big. He was a really good player that I think was a big X factor in us winning.
Agreed. I would say, I'm always biased towards defense. I think Josh Goldenberg doesn't get enough credit defensively. I think he's the best defensive shortstop. I know there's always a argument with Zen. But, Avi, if funny enough, our game, there were 0 earned runs through 7 innings. If you don't make an error in that first inning and we don't score on that, then you would be on this podcast with, I guess, your team in a lot of ways. And granted, I know in the 7th inning we had an error that contributed to a run, but even in the game last night, I think their shortstop, if I'm not mistaken, I think David Bloom made one error, which ended up leading to a run. And it is. Errors will kill you. So when you know that a ball is hit, I think as Archie said, I don't need to pitch to strikeouts. I'll pitch to contact because if I trust my defense and I know my defense is going to make plays, amazing. So I'd say Goldenberg, but the truth is Konigsberg. I've been playing with Ellie for 15 years. We play in the bungalow colony together. He's a very good hitter. Sometimes he'll go through slumps and he can get streaky. He's made Archie will remember this. He made tremendous defensive plays in right center, which is now definitely his better spot. And everyone's very positive. There's no negative. I think I've been on teams where people get on other guys, and there's a lot. We just keep going, and I think that's why we're here today with the
So
trophy.
we gotta wrap up soon. I'm wondering about the future. So I have two questions. First of all, you guys were the underdog. Would you say you were the underdog coming into this series? On paper, Archie, you said they win 99 simulations out of 100. What would you put the betting line at for CBS Alliance versus CBS?
For the game
Series.
or for the series? I guess you're talking about minus 300.
For sure. I would say for sure minus 300, if not more.
Yeah, you have to remember something. Like, even going into last night, if there's a game 2, they get to throw Steve Pollen fresh as can be. Kaufman's still got to go pitch a whole nother 7 innings against the stacked lineup. Like, they had the weapons, they had the backup. Let me tell you something. Shia Weiss, who I consider one of the best ever Jewish outfielders, was on their bench.
Yeah.
He DH'd. That's how good their defense was. That's how good the team was. So you played a game 2 of a championship with Steve Pollen and Shia Weiss on your bench. Do you know how good that is?
Steve Pollen was watching. He's watched the game.
We're an underdog by a long shot.
Okay, next question also about the future. So something you probably didn't see, Archie, knowing you. We did a podcast with Yossi a week or two ago. Yossi's a relative newcomer on the A-League scene, big scheme of things. Is that right?
I guess.
When did you start winning championships?
Won my first A-League championship I won was against Wexus. I think we beat, I don't know if Archie was on that team. We beat Evan Black. Hitman. I think that was like 2016.
Yeah, that was our only Hitman
that's
championship.
Longer ago than I realized, but sometimes like when we had Itzkowitz on with somebody, with Glenn, and he's like, we won our first championship together 21 years ago, so it seems like Yossi is relatively.
Yeah, I would say I've only started playing like competitively in the A-League in like the last 8-9 years, not before. Yeah, before I was playing in Hillcrest.
Archie, is Yossi now in the upper pantheon of A-League players? I don't know what pantheon means. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. He is. I look at him. He's co-MVP of the championship. I consider myself MVP. I actually more of the pitching coach. I get Coach of the Year award, whatever it is. No, but he's MVP. He was literally. You know what his performance reminded me of? It was Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson in that 0-1. Yeah, that's what that was.
Archie's. Your phone went out for a second, but I was gonna say you guys aren't aware of this, but we'll let you in on it. I'm facing Ash. And, I'm throwing hard and, he's having trouble with the fastball. And it's 2-2, which 2-2 is generally, most pitchers will go fast again until at least they get 3 balls. And Archie and I make contact. And I see Archie's like, now throw him the changeup.
Is that what you struck out on?
That was when he struck. That was a big strikeout in the game also. There were runners, if I'm not mistaken, there were runners.
First and second.
Swinging or looking?
No, swinging.
First and second. I'll tell you the exact sequence of the at-bat. First pitch was a slow pitch. I think he just let either a ball or a strike. I do not recall. It was the first pitch. Then Yossi threw a couple of bullets very fast. I think went ahead 1-2. And it was the way I remember one pitch, Ash fell off his feet a little bit, swinging, he fell out of the box. Barely tipped it. The second one, he sat on it, but just completely missed it, but hit the top and fouled back. Okay. Then Yossi looked at me and I said, no, fast again. I said, I think that's actually Yossi, your choice, 50-50. Because it's hard to say throw a change up there.
Pitch. Yeah,
it's hard to say throw a change up there because the guy just barely nicked it. Could he just have Ash off balance right now? So he throws another fast one and he misses by 4 feet up. It just wasn't close. But now you've totally established, Ash, you're not throwing a changeup right now. You threw 4 or 5 pitches. And I said, Yossi, now. And Yossi didn't even hesitate. He pulled the string, and I think Ash literally swung before he released the ball out of his hand.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen Ash miss a ball like that before, ever. I don't think I've ever seen Ash strike out before.
He's giving us
He is, yeah.
Should I
yeah.
add that to YouTube?
After the game, he comes up to me, and Archie was in earshot, and he's like, "I should have crushed that ball. You suck." And I was laughing because, of course, I could throw it hard if I wanted to. That's the whole point of like pitching. Like you're supposed to. But when Archie's facial expression after the strikeout, where he's like, "This is what I like. This is the most enjoyable part." Like, just
it was such execution, man. It was such execution. We just like set it up so perfectly, like a pure trap.
The point of the game. The point of the game, CBS just came back. They tied the game. They got 2 on and 2 out. Bottom of the fourth. Bottom of the fourth. They're on the precipice of the big hit of going up by 2 runs and probably sending it to game 3. And that's when the strikeout took place. It was probably the biggest.
Ash could hit fast pitching. I remember in game 2, I threw him a ball very fast and high, and he turned on it, and he hit a really good shot to left field. Husky was playing very deep and caught it. So there's certain guys also that like they could turn on it. And that was and when you play against these guys long enough, you kind of know their strengths and weaknesses. And against this team, I was telling someone this last night. The difference with playing like Ash, if he plays with weaker lineups, he could get away with walking 2 guys in an inning because ultimately he's just going to overpower everyone. But when you play against a team that you can get hits, meaning we both gave up the same 5 or 6 hits last night. But he walked a lot of guys, and I didn't. 9 guys. So, when you have Archie up and there's no room to put him, and Archie and Jakob Weiss also, it's going to walks and hits.
When you say no room to put him, are you talking about his weight again, Yossi? You're really ridiculous with this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we have a workout regimen in the off season. See you at 6:30 in the morning in the gym in the 5 towns. It's weights, cardio. I mean, look, we want to repeat. We understand we're not getting younger.
Yeah,
so
Yossi, I was going to say, the way the schedule is looking for the spring, we might be looking at an even earlier start than last year. Last year we were at March 10th. This year we might be looking at March 9th.
Why do you guys start in January?
We only really got around, a little less than 4 months here to get back into shape for the spring.
So that reminds me. That's another question I wanted to ask you guys. What keeps you hungry after this? You won two A-Leagues in a row, and this time you beat down, according to Edelman, who's a young guy, but has played more softball seasons than 95% of people and has played at a high level. What's keeping you hungry if you beat down what Edelman says is maybe the best softball team ever assembled? What keeps you hungry?
Beat them down again and again and again. You don't even know. My wife saw me smiling from ear to ear. She said, "What's going on?" I can't even explain it. Sometimes it's not about the championship. It's about who you beat. And it's, again, I mean this with all respect. You're talking about the best of the best hitters who they've beat me so many times. I've seen them hit big hits, big plays, a lot of championships. Well, all those guys, they total 50 championships in A-League baseball together. But yeah, the feeling of beating these guys and walking and seeing their heads down and the way we beat them and like just can't figure out the pitching, can't put together string a few hits together. Yeah, it is the best feeling. Like to beat guys who are that talented, sure. And I said it last night. There's something fun about being an underdog. It's made me honestly want to play.
It's funny. I'll just comment with Archie with Archie, he goes through.
The only thing that gets me going is being an underdog, chip on the shoulder. Shia Weiss always tells me, how do we get Archie to be angry? It's the only way he's going to be a good player. People always laugh. Do never intentional walk a guy in front of me to get to me. It's the biggest mistake you can do. You want to poke the bear. And yeah, that's what gets me going. Be an underdog, chip on the shoulder, beat guys who are technically better than you. And stack teams. It's fun. It gets you out of bed for it. It makes it exciting. And honestly, that's what we're playing for. Yeah, no offense to Avi Edelman's team. Like, I don't get real pleasure beating those guys. They're talented. They're young. But these guys haven't beat me in my prime. These guys, Sperling, Shia, they beat me in my prime. And they've won a lot. And they're elite, cocky players for a good reason. So beating these guys, there's just nothing like it. There's just really nothing like it. I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm sending a bottle of champagne to Sach Felber's Kiddush and Shabbos.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, I guess you go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's like, people say there's stages of grief and there's like stages of, there's anger, there's sadness. So with Archie, you have to know during the season, you go through those same mood stages with Archie as well. Like, I know that second week, Sunday morning in the middle of like March, end of March, where it's freezing.
7 a.m. game.
Why am I here? what am I doing? I always know I get it then. I always get it in the summer, like in the early part of the summer. My wife is giving me a hard time. She's like, what am I doing? But then as the season, and then once you start to get to the playoffs, you just got to get him into it. He's like a freight train with no brakes. You just got to get the train started, and then that's it. That's what you want.
Who is?
There's nothing like carrying a good group of guys.
Who are you talking about, Yossi?
So I'm at Archie.
He's a
I'm saying as the
freight
team.
train.
There's nothing like carrying a good group of guys to victory. There's just nothing like it. Putting the team together, there's nothing like
going
it.
into the spring, I truly think there's a bit of a culture shock here. Like the last 6-7 years, HSL spring. I know Archie, you've been out of that league for a little while until this past year. The Bombers just destroyed it. It wasn't even close. Like they're the kings of the mountain. Like every year they come in, they have their, they have a couple teams that are maybe keeping it close a little, but they're winning championship after championship. Then King Ventures, Yossi, Archie, and the rest of the guys, Denner, Raice, Yankee, they come in, they beat them, and then you're coming in for a fall league here where they get better and get even stronger, and then lose to the same guys again. Debatably a weaker team than what Yossi had in the spring, and the Bombers get stronger. I'm very honestly curious going to the spring, like what's the like Dave was saying with the intimidation factor. I'm curious how what's going to happen going forward. Like this is like unknown territory, at least in the spring, HSL Sunday morning world going into the season where I think clearly now the Bombers are, I would even venture to say, and no pun intended, big underdogs going into the season. Like they got better in the fall and Ventures got worse and Ventures beat them again and even worse than they beat them in the spring.
I don't know. They're scouting out Zinn and some minor league baseball players.
I don't know what the more they can do. They've got everyone already. I don't know who else they can get. Unless some of the guys go from your team to join forces. I don't know what they can do, man. I feel bad for them.
And you think a big part of that is that Yossi Kaufman is in his prime right now at the age of 51.
Yeah. There's no jokes.
You know what? That's my goal. My goal is to peak where I don't need a courtesy runner. I was just gonna say that big thank you to Menachem Diamonds, and I'll explain to you why. Because we wouldn't be with Menachem. A year ago, he called me, or in January last year, and he said to me, he's like, "Hey, do you want to play with my team?" And I really wasn't so interested in playing Sunday morning. Sunday morning is just, it's hard. It's early. It's the one day that I'm out working where I could wake up late. And he's like, listen, come down. I'm throwing on the team. I have Ash, myself. You'll just be like a backup pitcher. I'm just going to get you playoff eligible. That's literally how he phrased it to me. And then obviously as the season went on and, so much so I didn't even start the championship game one. Menachem did. I didn't start. And I think the original plan was Menachem was going to pitch game one. Ash was going to pitch game two. And I was there as more of like in case someone gets into trouble, which then Menachem subbed himself out after the third inning. And then Menachem moved to Florida. I took over the team, and now obviously I think we have our core. But shout out to Diamondstein, because without him, I'm definitely not here.
Yeah. By the way, Shia Weiss just texted me. I'm open to signing a minor league contract with you guys.
No, he didn't.
So it's already started. Yep.
Tell him we'll let him play the field. Like he doesn't have to ride the bat.
All right, guys.
Yeah. We'll put Shia in. I was thinking about even recruiting Donnie Perlman to stick it to them. They took Ash from us.
All right, you guys talk about having great chemistry on your team. You've got Ezzi Ungar. He leaves to go take care of his kids, pick up carpool, whatever he had to do, and now he's back to be with the boys.
You got to be back with the boys. That's the key. The key of the team is being with the boys. You got to be there. Got to be there for each other. Right, Arch?
Ezzi's the most whipped husband I know.
By the way, Dave, I'm thinking about it. I think Ezzi might have alluded to it earlier, not to try to be too didn't want to be too selfish. Ezzi had the biggest hit of the spring championship, so it's actually very fitting that we have Yossi, who really won both it on the mound, and Archie and Ezzi, who won both championships with their bat.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Ezzi is literally David Freese. I have to say, I called it then.
You said it in the last pot. I said it then,
and he's proved me right. Since that MVP, we have yet to hear from him. He has yet to do anything. Like, I would not shock me if Ezzi's out of these leagues by next year.
No, you can't get rid of me, Archie. I'm going to be on your team forever. You can't get rid of me.
I know, 100%. 100%.
He also catches, Archie. You don't find a lot of those guys.
You should know. I was telling someone else. I forgot what I was talking to Yaakov Weiss, whatever. Is what takes the championship team. There's a lot of small things that do not get recognized in a game. When you when you are an underdog and you're playing better talented teams than you. And it's very small little things. I can go to the first at bat where Shia Weiss, first and second, or it's the first inning, whatever, is 2 outs, hits a rope. Yaakov Weiss makes good position, makes the catch, tough play, gets out of it. Different things of the game, different little plays. Yes, last night I saw a big thing was, yes, Kaufman told people be patient, but it's hard to be patient. Ash throws very, very fast, and you could be borderline and still swing at bad pitches that look good. People did not swing at bad pitches, and that's a big thing. Little small factors, and you made them work, and eventually took the walks.
You got the runs over. You got the runners
last
over.
Game,
Archie,
last
Yitzi
game,
Miller's at bat.
Yitzi Miller's at bat, professional at bat. Yaakov getting the ball. Little things that don't get highlighted. It's not a bases clearing double. It's not a 3-run home run. I get it. It's not a bunch of strikeouts, but it's little things. And Ezzi proved me, and we were just talking about it. Like last week, there were some big strikeouts in that when we played Avi's team and then Bad by Lobos. A couple strikeouts were foul tipped, and Ezzi clean catches it. And those are strike 3, and there was, I think, 2 elite hitters. Yeah. That the next pitch can destroy one and change the course of the game. It's everything matters. Every position matters. Every player matters.
Both struck out, foul tipping at Ezzi's glove in that game.
Yeah, there you go. And I can tell you, you're talking about 9 out of 10 catchers can't make it. It's Ezzi and maybe one other guy. Yankee. There's not too many guys that play that catcher position that can make that play as he does. And those are, again, X factors of a championship team winning.
So you were catching. You caught in this championship both games?
Yeah, I caught throughout both the whole playoff series, the whole playoff.
So
except for one good
sometimes catch Yossi looking over to Archie for.
So it's funny. I was gonna mention something to Yossi. At some point, I'm like, we got to get on the same page, me, you, and Archie, because I'm calling pitches there. Archie's calling pitches from third base. I don't know what Yossi's throwing. Archie doesn't know what Yossi's throwing. We got to get on the same page of what we're doing with each other. Because I have a game plan of how I want to attack hitters, and I don't know if Archie's got the same game plan, but I know that like sometimes we do, and sometimes maybe we don't. We really, for the future, we definitely have to get on the same game plan. I know, like when I was behind there, I know when I throw down to first, or I want to look at Archie and throw down to third, like we got to get on the same game, on the same plane for that. And so it's similar.
Yeah, I'll say it's not a coincidence. Yes, having Ezzi catching these last few games, it's not a coincidence that Kaufman obviously pitches probably best 3 games of his career. It's definitely not a coincidence. It goes hand in hand. But Ezzi, let's make something clear. You don't call half the game that I call. It's not even close. Kaufman's smirking and laughing right now. Kaufman's about to. It's like a lot. You know what Kaufman is to me? Kaufman. I'm Kaufman's right now. Kaufman's the quarterback. I'm the offensive line. He should buy me dinner. He should buy me a car. He should buy me everything. I call the most perfection game. I just know hitters. I know how they think. I know how they feel. And I know as an opponent facing Kaufman, Yossi, I know what I don't want to see at certain times. So I know I can get a feeling of hitters of how they're feeling at the same at-bats, mid-at-bat, before that bat, or previous 2 at-bats. I think we did that, by the way. I told Kaufman I noticed on one hitter that's something. I'm not going to say it on this podcast. We don't want to give out our secrets. But we noticed something. And then that whole game, I noticed this a couple weeks ago. And I said, hey, we're going to pitch him a certain way. And it worked. So there's a certain things you pick up as a hitter. But again, it's all fun and games. You still have to execute the pitch. And you still have to say, do I want to throw this guy a changeup after this guy he barely tipped the ball when I threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball? Did I want to throw him a changeup and leave one hanging? It's a trust. You got to go with it. You got to understand and trust your instincts. And we've been doing it now, one hitter at a time, finding their weak spots, and it's been working.
Just to continue on your theme, Archie, I noticed like the first game of the playoff series that Yossi has he has an interesting rise on his fastball that a lot of other guys don't have. Everybody has a different fastball. Everybody's just what Abby would know this just as well as anybody else. Every pitcher has a different way that they throw, and the way the ball comes out of their hand is just different. Some guys, like you with Tony's ball, but he throws a fastball, it stays low, starts low and stays low. Yossi's fastball starts low and rises. It's got they call it RPM essentially in the majors when you're tracking. I'm sure Yossi has a lot higher than others. It's just has a tremendous rise to it. A lot of guys. If he's throwing it more up in the zone, it gets a lot of guys to pop up. And if you noticed, Archie, we had a lot of pop-ups in the playoffs.
That definitely, for sure, 100% right on that. And it's just, again, it's keeping guys off balance, and not be predictable. If you can throw the same pitch, by the third at bat, we're gonna eventually catch up to it. You don't have to think too much, especially good hitters. When good hitters don't have to think, they're gonna just, you know what? I'll let one pitch go, and I'll just get the next one. I noticed it even when we pitched Matt. I think Calvin threw a slow pitch, a measly strike right over the plate, and I never forget Matt's just like just trying to like sort of time the swing. Okay, that's the pitch. You throw it to me again, I'm gonna clobber it. Now I told Kaufman, switch it up. Now you go fast. Don't ever let a good hitter time you up. He's just gonna hit you. I remember he did it to Sperling, 2 slow pitches. Sperling ripped one for a big base hit.
Archie, by the way, I remember because we had a game plan with Sperling, and I forgot, and I threw him in 2 changeups in a row.
You didn't listen. You didn't listen.
And he's like, whoa! I don't understand. I told you.
Next at bat, he came up in a big spot. Sperling came up in a big spot. He had a couple men on base. They were trying to rally a little bit. I think we're up 5-1. I don't know what it was, 2-1, 5-1.
5-1, 2 outs.
It was a big at bat.
It was a huge. Yeah, by the way, Sperling got me out of it because I walked. I think I
Oh,
walked
he
both those
swung at
batters,
a
and
terrible pitch. Also,
and he swung
It was
at
a little high.
high and outside.
Pitch, a high
Way
fast
outside.
pitch. High and outside. He took it. He popped, flied out to second base. I know. Popped up second base. I know. But that's the thing. You stick to your game plan. You can't forget. It's really crazy. You make one mistake against these hitters, they make you pay. It's a big.
I think as a team, and I'm sure you guys talked about this before, we did an awesome job of every single guy doing their job. Every guy just being in the position they needed to be. Yeah.
There's no ego. -1 guy. There's no ego on this team.
100%. If you don't have that one guy, you ain't winning. You need that one guy that says,
I've won.
"Get on my back. We're better than them."
So speaking of whipped husbands, I got to get moving myself. But Ezzi, so just to get a little more background on you, what was the team that you were on for a long time? Who did you come up through the ranks with? Was there any stable team that you had? Any pitcher, any captain that you were part of?
I've been with you and Tony for 5-6 years. I think it was Archie. You were recruiting Jakob Weiss instead of me to catch for the Hitmen. So he ended up going to Yehuda. And I've been with Yehuda for the last 5-6 years. I played with Archie. You played with me also with Schreiber, but before that.
Yeah, of course.
It was an
You guys
interesting
were both
team.
on the great Avram Schreiber's team. Wow.
Absolutely.
You talk about a chemistry team, that blue and white championship.
Oh,
While we had a lot of talent, we had a lot of
We had
talent.
better
That's
chemistry.
again another championship that's just pure chemistry. It's just
That Sunday morning?
was
that was something blue and white. Yeah,
It was the best team I've ever played on, hands down. Hands down.
and we
that-
had to
I
beat
bet
not
that was
just
one
one
where we-
elite team. We
That was-
beat
oh, yeah,
a
that
few
was-
good teams.
Archie, Yossi was our pitcher that year. That was the first year Yossi pitched.
Yes.
By
yes.
the way, because
Yes.
of that team, I moved to West Hempstead because Izzo Guerin was my second baseman, and he's
Izzo,
like, and
yeah.
I wanted. I was in Brooklyn.
Do you know,
Yeah.
I picked off a guy. It's
Ultimate team player.
Archie, you were
Ultimate
at
team
first,
player.
and Izzo was at second. We picked off, I think, it was 18 games that year. I think I picked off 9 or 10 guys on bases.
Yes.
There was
Yes. Yeah.
Ezzi, so I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you a question that I asked your friends before. If you play this series another 10 times against what's called CBS Alliance, how many of those 10 times do you win?
Oh man, that's a great question. It is a great question because I think we would win more times than people might realize, and it's a very simple reason why. And they do have a lot of guys that are on that team, but I don't know that they're a team in the same way that we were a team. Number one, number two, you have a lot of guys that not necessarily they had most positionally they were pretty solid, but they weren't like the number one position. Like Adam in center field is not like. Would you put Adam in center field? Like, is that his number one position? What his number one position is? He's a tough, at this point. But they also don't have guys that bear down in the playoffs, I think, that really can do it when it counts. I think Archie would be the first to say that. And, all the talents in the world, you learn from Evan Blackman is all the talents in the world doesn't win championships. Win championships is teams. And win championships is knowing as a team, what you could do.
What did Evan say? Winning championships is what?
Evan Blackman's thing was it doesn't make a difference. Get the best players. Doesn't make a difference where they play, how they can do, what they do. Get the best players, you win. It's just not true. The one thing that's simply not true.
Evan never.
He never won.
Right.
And
He never
the one thing that's
won.
simply not true is getting the best talent, no matter what, because you have to get the right guys in the right spots.
Ezzi, did you also leave the Sunday morning league after it turned into Is that kind of Archie? I know you took a few years off after that little incident you had. Ezzi, because were you around Sunday mornings? before the King Ventures team this
I was
past year?
on. I was with Archie on the what was it, Smash Bros, and then I took a bunch of years off from that Sunday morning team as well. Until this,
So this past year was also because I don't remember you being in the
And by the
Sunday
way, I
morning.
beat them in the championship on Arab
we,
Rosh
we
Hashanah.
went.
You
Archie,
We
did.
were in the
You
championship.
did.
We were in the
He
championship
did.
game every single
David,
year.
if you want to hear a good story, oh man,
He did. He did. Kaufman did beat us. I remember. You were the fight. I think Ariel pushed
Oh
off
I
yeah.
was
17
I
times
was
to make sure
Wait,
All right, we
who's,
got
because
that.
of
who's
one
the
Yes.
thing.
fight? What?
Funny thing is, back then I loved facing us. He's one of my favorite pitchers to face. Now that's changed a lot.
Archie, you got to tell David of what the fight was with Ariel Cohen as the commissioner. And I think, Archie, after that, you're like, I will never
We just
play
we
Sunday morning.
discussed it. We discussed in the
Yeah.
last.
You
We
didn't
discussed
know
on the
because the game
last
was on Erev Rosh
podcast.
Hashanah.
Correct. Erev Rosh Hashanah, I said I'll never play in this league
But we
again.
didn't get the
And the
full
only reason I
color
agree this time
commentary.
is
We
Avi
didn't get
owns
the
it now.
full
It's a different.
Archie. We didn't get the
league.
full Archie twist on the story. Maybe we need a little.
I think what it was a regular, it was a Sunday. I was upstate. I wasn't going to play in the championship. I told them, go play. I just can't. And I think, what did he say? It was rain or there was a rain out, but it wasn't. It didn't
17
rain.
things.
It was like,
17
it's
guys.
going to
Oh
rain.
wait,
It was like
what
Friday.
are we talking about here?
Yeah. 17 different reasons why. And then let's play the morning of Erev Rosh Hashanah. That's
We
the
played
greatest
the
time to
morning
play.
of Erev Rosh Hashanah. I mean, I was on that team. I have to remember. I don't remember. Erev Rosh Hashanah is when we played.
I did not want to play. I said I'll come play just because the team asked me to. And everyone, Yankee, I remember a few guys, whoever it was. I don't remember who was on it. I don't remember. Cats, Dan Braun, whatever it was. I still show up. And I told Ariel on the spot at the game, what you just did is so terrible on so many levels. I'll never play in this league ever
What
again. And I
said
didn't.
that? What
What?
did he say when you said that?
I don't know. He probably he shrugged his shoulders and walked off and started counting
Funny
his
because after
pitching
that
stats.
podcast,
I love the guy.
after
Ariel's
that
a
podcast,
character,
he
but
messaged me and he said,
know.
"Oh, that's really interesting that Archie said that. I have no recollection of anybody being upset about that game."
listen, for him, that's just another day at the office. At the end of the day.
All right, I gotta get
There's
home.
a
So
big
last
difference.
question for you, Chevra. Where does before we asked where does Ezzi, you weren't here, but I asked Archie and Yossi what left do they have to accomplish, and Archie said he wants to beat down the competition, especially that competition every year. What is
No, that team, that
team,
specific team.
those guys, that Chevra? What does HSL got to do next to give the consumers, the customers, the clients a happy experience, a good experience?
I mean, I think the sponsors are great, and I think you guys are running a great league. Like the competition, the teams. My advice on this is, I think the way I got Chesky at Squitz and Königsberg and Goldenberg and guys that are normally wouldn't see the A league, get the younger guys involved and get the better players of the B league involved in the A, and don't take it as an excuse of like, oh, we're not competitive. You got to cut your teeth on the A league to be in the A league. You're not, very few players have the raw talent. Archie, I'm sure, could attest this. I'm sure when he started out, he wasn't the hitter that he is today. And I think that there's just like this apprehensiveness of people now. Like I've always felt like I want to be in the best league and play against the best talent and win at that level. I don't know, Archie. You agree?
You play when you play better talent, you up your game. I don't think it's a coincidence that our team played at this level and came through in big at bats. When you play, you tend to be better. It's like when a kid plays with an adult, you tend to get better. You play up to their level. You play a lower level, you tend to play down to the level.
I'll give you the best
I think
example,
it's the
Archie.
science of the game.
Raice is the best example. I mean, he came from the Muncie League. He was last year. He was the player he was today. But that's serious. He was so much better this year than he was last year. He improved so much. Just playing with
You mean the spring? You mean the spring to the fall?
No, I mean actually last year.
Oh, he played last year. I wasn't involved. Okay.
Not in the Sunday morning. He played in the A League,
Monday night
League last
Monday
year,
night, yeah.
and he was. I mean, he's a nice player, but he just wasn't. And he's much.
Is the Muncie League not as competitive as your guys' league?
I mean, clearly that's got to be good.
No. The way the Muncie League works is there's two teams, maybe three out of the 10 teams, whatever it is, they're very solid teams. They're very good. They would compete in the A League. They wouldn't be a top team. They would compete.
I think that you are expected to get some sort of an interleague here, all-star tournament.
It's funny. I was I'm on the Muncie players chat, and Yitz Greenbaum, who I know has pitched a lot. A lot of people are familiar with him. Also a phenomenal pitcher, moves the ball really well. Older, whatever. In his I don't want to give wrong how old he is, but he's not a young guy. He he's been telling me that he wants to do, and he wants to do it in Muncie, which I know guys are going to give issues with heading out there, but they probably have the nicest field at all the fields. He wants to do like one Sunday or a night maybe, some sort of little mini tournament with the best team from the 5 towns, the best team from Muncie, and the best team from Jersey, like the Deal Syrian, guys. I'm down. I would love it, and I think even the Jersey guys, as much as Uri Adler likes to talk and say it won't even be a competition, it's not even close, it's not worth our time. I think he'd love it too. I agree. It's been talked about. We actually have a chat, Dave, officially about it, right? We have a chat with Holland and.
How are you comparing a league? How are you comparing an A league in Lakewood that the score is 26-19 in a championship game? Come on.
No, so Uri would say those aren't the A guys. Uri's going to go based on the YMSL.
But they play with a yellow softball clincher.
Basically, guys are saying
every pitcher throws dimes
Archie,
and meatballs.
You just told us the thing about Chia with the minor leagues. I have a very controversial idea because this keeps me up at night. How do we get B League talent into the A League? My controversial idea is that A League teams are required to accept two. So, Ezzi, I didn't even get the words out of my mouth.
No, I know where you're going with this. It's creating a you're manufacturing.
No, it's not. It's not parity.
Now you can't overgovern, my friend. That's just a government.
You want to know how B League players end up in A League is that they build a team, they struggle through it, they make their team better with different B League guys that are better than the other B League guys. They switch up the team. They be a little ruthless, and they get there. And then they learn how to win. At the end of the day, this is what I said last night. Was we didn't win this championship series because we're a better team. We won the championships because we know how to win. We learned how to win. We played the game the right way. We did the details right. That's how you get better. You don't get better.
Preach to the Shmuel Raiders. Preach to the Menachem Dickers. Preach to the.
Come try.
I could name a lot more people, but I don't think I should.
This is such good hockey.
You can't let the fear of striking out stop you from playing the game. It's the same concept. Just because you're scared you're going to lose, you can't. Oh, I'm going to get crushed. You're going to lose. You're going to lose the game. I'm not going to
Preach to Delvin Manella. Preach to.
All right, let me ask you
I always say the more you face them, the better you'll get.
One last question.
I have one answer to your question. One answer. I think it's listen, for personally me, I don't really care for this as much, but I think this would benefit maybe other people, or at least younger kids who are getting involved as well. 20-year-olds that want to play, 25-year-olds, whatever it is. I think maybe like highlights, stats that they can, maybe updates in the newspapers and the Jewish 5 towns or whatever it is, and like the way they have for Jewish 5 towns league, but real highlights of the game. And I know like they did it in Deal and in Lakewood, different things. And you know what? I know a lot of the younger guys love this stuff. Yeah, you're right. A lot of the average older guys do not care. I personally do not care about stats. I actually sometimes hate them because I feel like I don't want to personally, I was 3 for 4 when you lost 10-4. Who cares? You know what I mean? I don't want to even hear you got 3 for 4. It's like in hockey. I scored 3 goals. Yeah, we lost 10-1. Who cares? Whatever it is. Like, so I never want to I sometimes stats makes people say they're in it for themselves and for winning, even though someone told me my stats was 11 for 16 in the playoffs. So I like stats once in a while as well. But I think this can make a lot of people interested. Younger guys get involved, highlight something more exciting that they, whatever. Maybe more people start coming out to watch them as well, and family and siblings or this, that. I think there's ways to spruce it up and get other people to come out and play, even though they may be a Brooklyn, even though they may be a B player, even though whatever it is. I think that would potentially help. I may be wrong, but I think that would be a benefit.
Let's face this pitcher, and he has a 7 ERA in the season, even though he's supposed to be this all-world pitcher. They go in with a little bit more confidence that maybe there'll be a chance in that game. It wouldn't be the end of the world.
All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you, Yossi, Ezzi, and Archie for coming on. We got to give a shout out, of course, to our playoff sponsor who enabled us to have 3-game series in both the semis and the championship, which comes with a lot of costs. So we appreciate Admart.com.
And with the championship and legacy league as well. First ever 3-game series
as well.
And a sneaky good hitter, by the way. I gave him a
Jake
compliment.
Byrne, Yossi, you made that guy's week. He told me 3 times. He's like, you know Yossi Kaufman? He's like, he gave me a compliment. I said, yes, you told me yesterday, Jake. And then he said again, he said, you know Yossi Kaufman? He's like a pitcher on CTC. I said, yes, Jake. You told me. He gave you a compliment, right?
When I posted the flyer for the HSL Spring today, Jake messaged me back. He's like, should I join A or B? I'm like, legacy. He's like, no, seriously. Like, you think I'll be better? I'm like, Jake. I'm like, you hit great, but like, let's take it one season at a time.
He owns Yossi Kaufman apparently.
He, you know what? He could catch up to Heat. I was shocked. And you batted him 10, and he turned.
But you know what,
I
Avi?
think he
Maybe
lined
he's
out.
the kind of guy that Yossi and Archie and Ezzi are saying. If he faced Yossi and Steve and Ash and Edelman every single week, maybe he'd start to turn those. He'd start to get hits out of that if he could keep up with the heat. You know.
100%.
Yeah.
So thank you for Edmart for making this a 3-game and
Yes, thank you,
having
Admar.
the
We
opportunity
appreciate it.
for Felberg and them to. We had a line of how many times they were going to complain that we moved the game. We said 8 was the over/under of given how cold it was, and I think we settled at about 15 or 16.
You know what?
Right,
You guys really did not trash talk a lot in the spring. Archie came on here with, I think it was with Raice, and they were just trashing. And today Archie kept it.
It's the next morning. These guys are not even over it yet. Some of them probably didn't get out of bed. You know what? Before we close it off, I should really give a shout out. Hey, guys, Bombers/Lobos, keep trying. It doesn't hurt. Keep practicing. Get to the cages. Do what you got to do. Don't give up. Don't give up. I beg of you, work on your game. Try, up it up. It's getting boring beating you guys, to be honest. Like, all you guys, you got to step it up. I'm serious. Come on. It's like, try to step it up. I ask you guys to keep us on our toes.
It's not easy
We look
winning all
forward
the
to the
time.
challenge. It's not winning. It's getting boring at this point. The only thing that's getting me excited now is a good championship dinner, thinking about a good steak. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you
Otherwise,
guys going?
Is that,
You're right.
How you
is that
guys
happening this
celebrating?
week?
Working on it.
I sent a pair of
We're thinking
goggles and a bottle of
restaurant.
champagne to Sach. I'm hoping he knows what to do with it. Shia, at this point,
No
I can't get
clue,
through
no
to
clue.
him. He's just he's. It's either a minor league contract or nothing. Adam and Shuey, I think, won't look at me at this point.
No. He's asking how
Um,
your team is celebrating, Archie.
I think we have Ellie Raice. He's in the mountains of Colorado smoking up who knows what at this point. What's our team doing? I don't know. I just am basking in the trophy, and I wined and dined my trophy last night. I took a bath with it. I slept with it. This morning I davened next to it. At this point, now I'm putting it away. Probably will never see it again. At this point, and then now we're gonna go celebrate with a good dinner. Avi's invited. I want to let Avi to see what it means to win a nice championship like this. He'll get a feel of it. I'm thinking about it. If I want to let Sach Felber come to this dinner as well. He hasn't seen one in years. He just almost forgot what the taste of champagne is. So I might ask him to come as well. And then I'm looking forward to seeing Yankee Iskowitz, that old bag, mooch off a good dinner.
All right, Sabra, thank you so much for coming on. Ezzi, we got to get you on so we could properly interview you at some point because we've had both Archie and Yossi.
Yossi, are you searching for a second pitcher for the spring? By the way, I'm not available. I'm not available. But are you going solo? Is that what's
I have
happening?
to talk to the pitching coach on the team. He determines.
All right.
You're riding solo?
Can you
Yeah.
tell them-
All right,
I
you
can't-
trust the Yossi?
I can't develop 2 pitchers. You only get lucky once. Look at
Gotta run,
Popovich.
guys.
Look at
Thanks so
Popovich.
much.
You got lucky with Duncan. You don't get lucky twice
Thank you,
in your
guys.
life.
Thanks.